I learned with a 9 is Purple Haze. So we'll get into that in a sec. E7 sharp 9. What the heck is that? Purple haze up in my brain. Lately things just don't feel the same. Acting funny, but I don't know why. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. All right. So as I was preparing for this stream, I was thinking, when did I play the first chord? Which song did I play? My first sort of 9 chord, 11 chord, 13 chord, and it was Purple Haze, and I didn't know, what a 9 meant. But this is an E7 sharp 9 in Purple Haze, and it's known as the Hendrix chord, right? So we can start with that because Hendrix has infiltrated the guitar world, just in his short career. He really sort of changed everything, right? So he really took this chord, which is actually a jazz chord, and he made it very popular. Now it probably showed up in a lot of blues early on as well, but it's a quite a complicated chord. So we're gonna start with that, and we'll make our way into chord extensions in general. By chord extensions, I mean basically anything past a 7. Okay, we call those extensions. They include 9, 11, 13, and that's sort of a mystery to many students or guitar players as to why they're called that. So I'm going to try to demystify that. Hi, it's fun. Good day to you as well. So, this is going to be one of those streams where I also am going to be playing for you. So I hope you're ready for a nice, relaxing lesson. Nothing too strenuous, hopefully, and something where I can actually perform for you as well as teach. So, let me know how you're doing, and hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a nice weekend. So there's some preparatory work we have to do to understand what chord extensions are. Okay, first off, we should understand what a chord is. So a chord is, at its most basic level, like a major chord would be 1, 3, 5. All right, so if I take a G chord, it's a 1, which is a G, a 3, which is a B, a D, which is a 5. G, B, D, 1, 3, 5. Every major chord, as long as it's just a major chord, is 1, 3, 5. As soon as you start throwing in sevenths, now you would have a seventh. So now you'd have 4 notes. So, for instance, if I had a C major 7, you would have a 1, 3, 5, 7. So now that chord is 4 notes. All right, C, E, G, B. And that's true with dominant 7th as well. So that's a major 7. And I have a different stream where I go into 7th chords in detail, so I'm going to kind of breeze through it pretty quickly here. But if you have let's say you've got let's take an A7. All right, so, well, I'm trying to think of a way that I can make it really clear. let's take a G7 here. Okay, this G7 right here. You've got 1, 3, 5. Then it repeats 1, 3 up an octave. Now you have flat 7. Okay, so flat 7 would make it a dominant 7 or a G7. The reason we say G7 instead of the reason we say G and then just the letter 7 is because it's the most common 7th chord. And in functional harmony, it's usually the 5 chord, but blues changed that to where it can be any chord really, and jazz changed that as well. So G7, flat 7. So you've got 1, 3, 5, flat 7. If I took a minor 7, like an A minor 7, again, I would have 4 notes in the chord. Here's a 1, here's a 5, here's a flat 7, here's a 3. A, E, G, C. Okay. So you really, before you go into extensions, you really should understand how the 3 types of 7th chords are out there: major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. Because if you just go straight into what's an E13, what's an E7 sharp 9, what's a D7 sharp 11, and if you don't understand the basics of 3 or 4 note chords, the extensions are going to be a bit confusing. So for the purpose of the stream, I'm going to kind of briefly mention this as a way of trying to catch people up to this idea that chords are stacks of thirds. So what I mean is, let's take a C major 7, all right? C to E, the first 2 notes of the C chord is a third. Now G, that's another third. Why is it a third? Because it's the 1 to 3, then to 5. 1, 3, 5. Those are called third intervals. Third, third. So we've got 2 thirds creating a chord. If we make it a major 7, now we've got 3 stacked thirds. 1 to 3, that's a third. 3 to 5 is a third. 5 to 7 is a third. Okay. Can you see where I'm going with this? Hello, Vedant. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. So if you stack thirds, you would create chords. And if you continue stacking thirds, you would continue to create chords, and that's where we get into extensions. So try to wrap your head around the fact that a 7th chord is a bunch of thirds. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay? For instance, here's a C major bar chord, but if I play a C major 7, the 2nd chord of Something by George Harrison, by the Beatles, I would have 1, 3, 5, major 7. These are all thirds. Third, third, third. Sounds quite nice, doesn't it? So these are 3 thirds stacked all on top of each other. 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 3 to 7. All right, so this is advanced chord theory, and we're going to kind of take a leap now. So if I have thirds that are stacked, do I have to stop at 7? Absolutely not. All right, I can keep going with extensions. And when you start using extensions, it starts getting a little bit unmanageable in the 1 through 8 system. What I mean is, we have 7 notes in a scale, 1 through 7, and then 8 is the octave. So we have 7 notes, and I've already done 1, 3, 5, 7. If I continue up a third, what am I going to do? I need to go up higher than 7. Okay, I need to go up higher than 7. So if you see C major 9, that is a chord that has a stacked third on top of the 7th. So you may ask, if there's only 7 notes in a scale, why the heck are we using 9s, 11s, 13s? That's a great question. And it's not like it was absolutely necessary to do, but it would be a little crowded to say, well, let's go back into stacking the 2 on top of the 7. Now it's a bit confusing. So jazz harmony especially and classical harmony decided to continue on the numbers on top of the 7, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but after the 7 you have the 9, because we've done 1, skip a number, we go to 3, skip a number, we go to 5, skip a number, we go to 7. Those are called thirds. Now we skip a number and we go to 9. Okay, so let's go back to this C major 7. I'm playing 10th fret on the 4th string, 9th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret, or 1, 3, 5, 7. Now I'm going to continue on and say, you know what, I need to play another third on top of that. That will be the 9. All right, what is the 9? Can you all answer this question and help me out here? What is the 9? What's it called? What other note is the 9? What other number is the 9 as far as an octave down? What would be the 9 an octave down? We'll get some audience participation here. If 8 is 1. That's right. Thank you very much. Dibakar is correct. It's the second note. So it's the second note of C major if we're in C major 9. So the second note of C major is D. So now I would have a D here. Let's do it though down here. So if I have a C major 7, okay, 1, 3, 5, 7, I'm going to add the second note of C, which is D. Beautiful chord here, C major 9. Now when we have a 9, when you see the chord symbol C major 9, what's happening is the 7th is implied. So that's why you'll see C add 2 or C sus 2, because there's no 7 there. So if I go, that would be a C sus 2. Because I'm suspending the suspending the third to the second. Or if I did this chord, it'd be C add 2 because there's no 7th. So when we have a 7th, which is B, and we add the second note, which is D, we have a C major 9. And we say C major 9 because we already have the 7th, so we need to stack the thirds. All right. This is a little bit tedious, but it's preparatory work so that you can understand the rest of the stream. That's my goal, is so that I don't kind of go over everyone's head here. C major 9. I can move that shape all over. Here's G major 9. This would be 10, 9, 11, 10. 1, 3, 7, 9. There's no 5. The 5 is the first note that can kind of go. We don't really need the 5 in more advanced chord harmony. Because the 5 is the first overtone after the octave. So if I have a G, no, that note is already in there as an overtone. That's the 5th. We don't really need the 5th. I know that's going to upset some rockers out there because we like the G5 chords. But really, we don't need the 5 in more advanced chord harmony. And the reason we say G5 is because it's just 1, 5. But if we're going to play the 3rd, the 7th, the 9th, we really don't need the 5. Okay. All right, there's my introductory aspect of this lesson. If that makes sense to you, we're on a great path here, because that is huge, and then we can understand the 3 families of chords, which I'm going to get into. And the first chord I played in the stream here was Purple Haze chord, the Jimi Hendrix E7 sharp 9. If you can understand what I've been saying so far as how to stack thirds, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, we can crack the code a little bit about how to understand what all of these extensions mean. All right. Now, as I mentioned in the title, if you have a question about any chord that you've ever come across, type it in the comments, and I will do an explanation of what that chord is. Okay. All right. Cool. So let's break it up with some music here. Let's do Tune Up by Miles Davis. Okay. I'm going to start with chord melody. Anybody know what type of chord that is? 7 sharp 11, D major 9, D minor 11, G7 sharp 11, C major, C minor 7, F9, B major 7, E major, E flat major 9, E minor, yeah. All right, well, we've got a question here from Deepakar saying, please explain suspended type once more. Sure. So in a chord, we've got 1, 3, 5. And if you have 1, 3, 5, if you take the third and you move it to the 4 or the 2, you would have a suspended chord. All right, so famous example would be Free Fallin'. So we've got, I know that's not the original key of the song, but we've got D, then D sus 4. Why is it D sus 4? Because here's the third, it's an F sharp. That's the third. We move it the third to the fourth. Now we've got just 1, 4, 5. It's slightly unbalanced. It's slightly tense. Not tense in a bad way, it's just, it's unresolved. It's suspended in air, right? It's suspended in, not grounded in a 1, 3, 5. So that 4 is a sus 4, D sus 4, because really there's no third. We really don't know what's going on. Is it major? Is it minor? Where's the sense of resolution? Okay. Then it goes back to a regular D. Now this is an A sus 4. Why is it an A sus 4? Because we've got a 1, 4, 5 only in this chord. 1, 5, 1, 4, 5. No third. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus, and America too. A sus 4. D, D sus 4. Gotta resolve it. It never really resolves, does it? It's always in motion. A sus chord is a songwriter's best friend. All right, good question. So, I played Tune Up by Miles Davis. Here's an E minor 11. 1, 5, flat 7, 11. Why is it an 11? All right, well, we've talked about nines. The reason it's an 11 is because it's a 4 up an octave, and we have a minor 7th already. Here's an A7 sharp 11. Does that make sense, Deepakar? Wow. All right. Before we go into sharp 11, let's actually cover the Purple Haze chord, the Jimi Hendrix chord, by talking about the 3 families. So there's 3 families of chords, really. Okay, good. Thanks. So there's 3 families of chords. There's, especially for jazz, there's minor 7, there's dominant 7, there's major 7. No matter how complex the chord is, you can absolutely classify chords into those 3. All right. Anybody like to push back on that? Because I know that that's a pretty bold statement. But you can classify every chord you see into either a minor 7 type chord, a dominant 7 type chord, or a major 7 type chord. All right, and it's something that you learn when you really are getting overwhelmed by jazz and you think, what the heck's going on? And then you kind of have to classify things into more simpler terms, and you realize, oh, this is just a dominant 7th related chord. Now you might think, what about diminished chords? Those are dominant 7 type chords. That takes a while to get into. What about minor 7 flat 5? That's the minor 7. So, what type of chord of those 3, minor 7, dominant 7th, major 7, what would be E7 sharp 9 from Purple Haze? Anybody like to take a swing at that? What type of chord is that? Is it minor 7, dominant 7, major 7? I didn't know when I learned the song, but now I do. Okay. It's a dominant 7th type chord. So minor, George, good guess. Dominant 7th chords, type chords are a combination of major and minor. So George is on the right track here. And the reason he thought minor possibly is because we have an E7 sharp 9. What's that note? That's the minor note. That's the flat 3. E minor pentatonic works beautifully over, crap he says, it works beautifully over E7 sharp 9 because it's a combination of major and minor. Yet we have a major third. That's a major third. So it cannot be minor 7. Sounds sad to me. Yeah, it is. It's a blues chord, man. I mean, blues chords are sad. But this is a major third. And then we have a dominant 7th. Now it's starting to get a little dark or tense. Now we have a sharp 9. Now it's quite intense. So, what's happening with the sharp 9 chord is we already discussed the 9 in a dominant, well, not in a dominant, but we discussed the 9 in a major chord. Let's do a 9 in a dominant chord. What would be an E9 chord before we get to sharp 9? So an E9 or an E7/9 would be 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Then if we keep going and we stack another third, we would have a 9. That's a D. That's a F sharp note. So this is a nice chord to learn. It's open 7, 6, 7, 7, or 1, 3, flat 7, 9. You can even go like that. Funk players love this. That's an E9. All right, so what do we do when we sharpen a note? We usually, well, not usually, we always take it up a half step if we're going to sharp something. Flat, we take it down, right? So if we're going to sharp the 9, we would just take it up a half step. So instead of this, which is an E9, we'd have this. Ooh, pretty tense. That's taking that 9 up a half step to a G note. Although technically if you wrote that out, you would have to call it F double sharp because a 9 has to be the next letter up from E. So even though it's a G and harmonically, it's actually an F double sharp. Okay. That's why classical music can be a little confusing, but that's how you would have to write it down. F double sharp here. It's a sharp 9. So what we have is a flat 3 note in a major chord, which is seemingly not possible, right? So we have to call it a sharp 9. We can't really call it a flat 3. We already have the third here as G sharp. Is that making sense? Now we've got a real bluesy, tense, slightly dark chord. Early jazz musicians who really loved using this in their compositions, Duke Ellington, okay, it's called sophisticated harmony, meaning if you keep stacking thirds, you're going to get very thick chords. Right. So every time you see a sharp 9 chord, like a 7 sharp 9 chord, now you can know why. We're sharpening the 9. We're making it a blues/jazz chord. All right. Let's play another song. All right, light-hearted creations. How to enable YouTube community post. Well, I have done YouTube community posts. You have to be monetized first. Generally, I think YouTube lets you do community posts when you hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So if you're asking for your channel, that's what you would need to do. My channel already has community posts. You can check them out. Sometimes I post on the community. All right, why don't we do let's do Stella by Starlight. flat 7 sharp 11. I'll explain that in a second. Ooh, G7 sharp 9 flat 13. C minor 11. A flat 7 sharp 11. What the heck are these chords? George, your message just got restricted. I'm not sure why. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Here's an E minor 7 flat 5, A7, C minor 11, F7, F minor 9, B flat 13, E flat major 9, A flat 13, B flat major 7, E minor 7 flat 5, A7 flat 13. It's harder to say it than to play it. D minor 9, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, F major 7, E minor 7 flat 5, A7 flat 13, A minor 7 flat 5. Here's a good one. This is D7 sharp 9 flat 13. This is one of my favorite chords. My jazz guitar teacher showed me this over 10 years ago, but it stuck with me. G7 flat 13. You guys know this tune, Stella by Starlight? Learn the classics. Learn the jazz standards if you can. A7 flat 13. Da 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 da. This is called a tag, a turnaround. You tag it. Go back to the 3 chord. 6, 2, 5. One more time. 3, 6. Makes it feel like it never has to end if you want to keep the song, the outro going. One more time. This is an ending starting in the sharp 5. And end on a B flat major 7 sharp 11. All right, George. So, whoops. I was making sure okay. Making sure that the picture looks good. All right, good. So, any Q&A on chords? Do we need to play all 5 notes or 6 notes together when we play ninth? Great question. No, we do not. So we can take out the 5th and the root, believe it or not. Those are called rootless chords. So we have a question saying, do we need to play all 5 or 6 notes when we play 9th or 11th chords? No, we don't. And if we play 11th or 13th chords, we don't need the 9 necessarily. Excuse me. So, for instance, if I have a C minor 11, all right, What does C minor 11 mean? It means the fourth up an octave and that we don't need the seventh. So here's a C minor 11. Okay. What have I taken out? Because this is only 4 notes. It should be at least 5. Or it could be at least 5, right? 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 9. That's 5. Well, we don't need the 5th. All right, we can take the 1. Here's the 1. That's 8th fret, 6th string. Skip the 5th string. 8th fret, 4th string, which is the flat 7. 8th fret, 3rd string, which is the flat 3. 6th fret, 2nd string, which is the 11, or 4 up an octave as an 11. No 5. 1, flat 7, 3, 11. You could do this kind of thing, but there's no third in that, so you would really need to do this. Same thing with this. No, that would be a sus chord because there's no third there. So you don't need the 5th. Now sometimes you don't need the root as well. For instance, if I want to play, let's see here. Yeah, if I want to play a D major 9, but I want to have it really high up there, I don't need the D. Here's the 3rd, major 7, 9, 5. Here's a rootless voicing. This is a D major 6, 9. Major 7, is it a 6, 9? Yeah. We got a major 7, 3rd, 6, 9. No D, no 1. Here's a rootless voicing. This is, what is this? This is a D major 6, 9 as well. 3rd, 6, 9, 5. So you can take away the 5 or 1. And in fact, in jazz you're supposed to. You're not really supposed to play a lot of roots and fifths in jazz because the bass player is covering that. And the guitar player or piano player is mainly supposed to kind of play the color tones or the extensions, the 9s, 11s, 13s, the 7s, the 3s. And the 3rd and 7th is very important, so you don't want to really sacrifice that. The 3rd and 7th are called guide tones. You can play an entire blues with just guide tones. 3rd and 7th of C7. 3rd and 7th of F7. One of the assignments of a jazz student is to play guide tones and get away from the root and fifth. Does that answer your question? Okay. Anybody have any other questions? So, I need to warm up. I have a 3-hour solo gig tonight, 5 to 8. So I'm going to play a little bit. Play some James Taylor here. And it's a solo instrumental gig, so no singing. So it's kind of a lot of work. Need to get my fingers loose here. Something in the way she Thanks, Don. Good to see you. Well. Let's just keep playing a little bit. I feel like, you know, we've covered a lot already. Here's one maybe you all will like. Anybody want to name this tune? Say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. It's coming to you and drive me away from me. There's nothing that a hundred would ever do. How blessed rains down in Africa. It's gonna take some time to things we never had. Okay, so we've got some questions here from Debakar saying, if we add the 7th, 9th, or 11th with suspended chord, what will it become? Well, good question. Okay, so if you have a D sus4, let's say you've got a okay, really what it becomes, Debakar, is something like a E7 sus4, for instance. If I have, this is a very common R&B chord, here would be a 1, 4, flat 7, 9. So an E7 sus4 or E9 sus4, E7/9 sus4. I usually call this D over E. Here's a D triad, here's an E bass. Okay. If I make a, what happens is you're dealing with polychords. So like if I had a major 7 sus4 9, here's a 1 7 4 5 9. It's really just E7 over A. Okay, so you start getting into different types of chords. Yeah, when we add the 9th or 11th, that is supposed to be from the higher octave, exactly. Thanks for the compliment, appreciate it. So I think we'll wrap it up there. And I hope that you have been enjoying the content. Let me know what what you'd like more of, or what you're enjoying or what you're learning. Always interesting to hear. All right, well, I got to get ready, maybe eat some food and practice for my solo gig tonight. So I hope this was helpful. It's there's a lot to cover. And again, I'm going to be continuing to cover more as we go. So good to see you all. Nice to see you, Don. Nice to see you, Debakar. George, as always. Lighthearted Creations, everybody. And I hope you have a nice, all doubts cleared. Good. Thanks. So I hope you guys have a nice weekend and stay safe out there. Enjoy the summer. Or if you're on the southern hemisphere, enjoy whatever weather you're dealing with. Thanks, George. Appreciate it. Rock on, everybody. Appreciate it. As always, see you next time. Bye.